Hi, my name is Brooklyn, and I stand before you today as a student of Cedar Park High School and an athlete. Over the last month, there's been situations that have arrived that have caused me and half my softball teammates to quit softball because we do not feel safe around a particular assistant coach. Throughout the year, this specific coach has made rude, inappropriate, and discouraging comments and jokes that began discomfort around him, as well as inappropriate actions. This includes standing extremely close to our faces, asking us to come into his room privately to teach us stretches, trying to massage my shoulder after I complained about throwing my arm out, making jokes about our body and our weight in front of other teammates, coming up to me in the hall and calling my guy friends my boyfriends and telling me to stop flirting. These are a few of personal things that have happened to me, and I can go on for a very long time. I'm asking you guys to please dig into this issue and please support our students and athletes. In my opinion, it feels like the school board and the school system goes to great lengths to protect their teachers and their coaches. This can be a good thing unless it opposes the safety and inappropriate behavior I mentioned earlier. Would you please come to the aid of our student athletes and our at Cedar Park High School softball program so that we can have a vibrant softball team?
Thank you, speaker number 1. Speaker number 2. Speaker number 2.
My name is Kendall Lynch. I am a current sophomore at Cedar Park High School. I was on the varsity softball team until April 4th when my parents decided the environment was no longer safe for my physical and mental well-being. Starting in the beginning of the year, many of us on the softball team were approached and made to feel very uncomfortable and unsafe by the assistant coach. Inappropriate comments were often made, staring at us in the mirrors while we were working out, an invasion of our personal space, all more times than that can count. All of these things were completely ignored by our head coach other than her asking us to change our positions while working out so that the assistant coach could not stare at us. We were told to change our behavior, not the other way around. As if being made to feel uncomfortable and not being supported by our head coach was not enough, our head coach began tearing us down as individuals. She told us we were toxic, homophobic, body-shaming other teammates, and that our parents had not raised us right. All things that I know are not to be true about myself, but when it's repeated to you over and over, you begin to wonder. My parents brought to the attention of our head coach the ongoing issues with the assistant coach. They too felt ignored. When no actions were taken with our head coach, then my parents went to the athletic director. Again, they were brushed off. When my very brave teammate decided to write an email about her experiences with the assistant coach to the leaders of our school and district athletic leaders, and my parent witnessed how poorly it was handled by our AD and the head coach, they decided I was no longer going to be playing with the team until changes were made to protect the students and their safety. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker number 2. Speaker number 3. Speaker number 3.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Brooke McCracken, and tonight I wanted to share with you a letter I wrote to the head coach. Dear Coach, since I know you are busy with school and softball, I figured writing a letter would be easier for the both of us to explain why I'm quitting. Since I was 7 years old, I have loved this sport with all my heart. I had coaches who were hard on me and constantly pushed me to be my best. But since I have been with Cedar Park softball, I have not felt supported or felt like I belonged. Especially within this year when I started playing with varsity during preseason, but was then told I was needed on JV as backup, even though I have for the most started pitching in all JV games. We constantly talk about softball IQ and how softball is a mental game, but the indecision and lack of communication from you and coach on what team I am playing on is not a good example of being prepared. As a coach, it is your responsibility to communicate with me what teams I am playing on, as well as what position. I have played numerous different positions that I have never played at before, such as second base and right field. I say this next part in a truthful way and not a hurtful one. You and the assistant coach have made me lose my love for softball. I no longer want to practice, play, or simply be on the field because of the coaching. You have talked to us many times about how us as a team are disrespectful to you and the assistant coach, as well as how we seem to do whatever we want. I get that you can perceive the team as that, but the root of the problem is that we lack leadership, discipline, and authority. You think we are mean, but in reality, we are coaching each other since we lack that from you and the assistant coach. My biggest problem with the coaching is consistency. If you want us to get better as a team, stay consistent. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 4.
Thank you, school board members, Dr. Gearing, LISD teachers and staff, and the police officers who are here to protect us. Today I will be my last speech to the school board as an LISD student. I am thankful for a great school year. All of the teachers and staff have our family's deepest gratitude. As of Saturday, I will be a proud alumni of this great school district and soon a student at the University of Texas, Hookham. I'd like to talk about support for the teaching profession, especially public school teachers. Keep in mind this is at LHS. I'm proud to say my mother was a public school teacher in Texas. My grandfather was a public school teacher and also worked in civil rights to desegregate the schools in Texas and other states. So we know the history of schools and teachers being attacked by people opposed to the presence of one group or another in public schools. Teachers and staff of LISD have stood up for students. It's time for students to stand up for teachers of this district. This past week, a wonderful teacher for Leander ISD was attacked by outside groups. This is not what other people said just now, it's a different situation. In reality, the video shows a truly lovely human being, a role model, and much loved teacher promising kindness and respect for all students. I'm very proud to say I consider this teacher a role model and a perfect example of the best of Leander ISD. Any school district and any child should be proud to have her as a teacher. We thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, speaker number 3. Speaker number 4, thank you. We now speaker number 5.
Thank you to the board members, Superintendent Gearing, and LASD teachers and staff for all you do, and to the police officers here to protect us. Today I'd like to talk to you about why it is so important for families to support the teachers and staff of Leander ISD. So many do a wonderful job teaching kids, supporting kids, and are inspiring us all to do as well as we can. Sometimes, if there's a problem, it isn't actually the teachers or the schools, it's the parents or kids. We should all be humble enough to know that while all schools aren't perfect, neither are all parents or kids. From time to time, there will be controversies or things to improve in public schools. One thing we should never, ever do is show disrespect for public servants who make great sacrifices in order to educate kids. We should all recognize that teachers of Leander ISD choose to teach at a great personal sacrifice. They could go get a bigger salary, working fewer hours with less stress. But they truly believe in the well-being of all kids in Leander ISD and in the future of our communities. So they take a job working incredibly long hours with few thanks and too much criticism. Much of it is unjust. A teacher who tries her very best to do right by all kids should be honored and showered with respect. Teaching is perhaps the most important profession in our society. Let's show teachers the respect they deserve. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, speaker number 5. Speaker number 6.
Good evening. I signed up tonight to speak about student experience on your agenda and also customer or parent expectations. When I consider the testimonies that were given today, I would ask you, board members, what do you think about those student experiences that were just described? Madam President, you mentioned in your board comments student outcomes and trustee roles and responsibilities. What are your roles and responsibilities regarding stuff like that? And those are isolated, but not the only cases. We've been coming here for 3 years expressing parent concerns about things that are going on in the district that affect our families. What's your role in our responsibilities? You mentioned about the Cedar Park Chamber. What's your role? If we are, as you say, the minority, what's your role in that? What is equity in that? Have you not learned the lessons yet that Bud Light just learned? Have you not learned the lessons that Target is learning right now? What are your roles regarding all of the community? Or are you here to separate and segregate? People are hurting, people are being offended, people's rights are being invaded. By the way, I wore this shirt today, Freedom is Not Free, in anticipation of next week's Memorial Day holiday, because what we're fighting for today is everyone's freedom, not just the ones we like, everyone's freedom. People died for that.
All right, thank you, speaker number 6. Speaker number 7.
Members of the board, we are here today to provide you with an opportunity to use your power to protect not only our children, but our rights as citizens to take action in the case of violation of state law. We are here to discuss the matter of one of your 4th grade elementary teachers, her complete inappropriate and illegal behavior as a teacher under the authority of this ISD. She is a politician whom you and this ISD have allowed to inflict an agenda on our children. You have allowed her to provide unqualified mental health advice to our children and to infringe upon the rights of both parents and students to hold their own beliefs about identity. Would this board approve of a medically unqualified teacher providing therapy for bulimia or a complex PTSD? No. But you allow a teacher with no mental health qualifications to enact an unproven programmatic approach to the mental health of your students. You as members of this board must protect the health of our children and create policies that ensure parent and child have the right to seek proper treatment for mental health. Allowing an LGBTQ lobbyist to proselytize our children is an infringement of our right to choose. You must protect our children and our rights as parents to hold and express our own beliefs about gender. You must do this by preventing any grooming of our children.
All right, thank you very much, speaker. Speaker number 8. Speaker number 8. Speaker number 8's not here. Speaker number 8.
I'm here tonight. I have 2 graduates that are going to be graduating from Cedar Park High School tomorrow night. We moved to Cedar Park about 5 years ago, and I was so excited because I had graduated from Allen High School in 1987 and had an amazing experience with our marching band and the community, the relationships with the families and the administration, and I was so excited for what was going to happen for my daughters. I have 4 kids, 2 that are graduating, and then I have 7th, almost 8th, and 5th, almost 6th grade. And they all are athletic. And my daughters are softball players. And recently, over the last years, they've been expressing their concerns with their coaches about how things are going. And it's fallen on deaf ears. They've communicated. They're grown up enough. They have meetings in the team huddles and stuff, and they've expressed their concerns, and nothing's been done. We were told as parents, if we wanted to make change, we need to have meetings. So we set up meetings with the athletic directors, the head athletic director. Our family alone sat with him for an hour and a half and he took notes. You can ask him about the notes. He's only allowed to speak about it with other staff. But when we reached out to find out what's going to happen with this afterwards, our concerns were told that they were unwarranted. The investigations that were done were not warranted. These investigations that were talked about, we were told were negated and are not accepted. So I'm concerned about that.
All right. Thank you, speaker number 8. Speaker number 9.
I'm here to speak about legislation that's been passed by the Texas Legislature, Bill HB 4520, which says it's relating to the employment and retirement consequences for an educator convicted of or placed on deferment adjudication community supervision for the distribution of or display of harmful material to a minor, and similarly HB 1181. For years, at least the last 2 years, parents have approached this school board to draw attention to the fact that there are sexually explicit material in our LISD school and library. We parents have often been rejected, ignored, and in some cases castigated on this issue. It has been a problem in the community that has risen to the point of being heard by the Texas Legislature. Now they, unlike you, have chosen to act in a way that listens to parents on the issue of getting this filth out of our LISD libraries and classrooms. These recent bills that have passed will now add subsequent accountability to those individuals that refuse to rid our schools of this sexually explicit material, up to and including the teacher, librarian, or any other individual, going all the way up to the publisher of this material. Through our utilization of the Texas Legislature to hear our grievances, we are putting you, the LISD School Board, on notice that there will now be accountability on this issue. Thank God.
All right, thank you, speaker number 9. Speaker number 10.
Hi, I have 4 children in the district next year, and I just wanted to talk about, this morning I attended the Cox 5th grade graduation ceremony, and there was a video with kids saying what they liked best about their teachers, and every response was either that their teachers were nice, or helped them when they're having a bad day, or they're funny, or they're quirky, or they talk about their cats too much, or any number of nice things. But not one child said they were glad that they felt unwelcome or that they were made to stand out. I also saw a video of the attack on the teacher for being inclusive in her classroom. All 4 of my children are different, and I'm happy to know that teachers accept them and nurture them for who they are. I want my kids to be a better version of myself, to learn from role models beyond just me and my experiences. And we are extremely grateful for teachers at LISD to fill that role. So thank you to teachers for being, as a wise young lady said earlier this evening, safe, respectful, and encouraging. So thank you to all the great teachers at LISD. You are seen and you are truly appreciated.
All right, thank you, speaker. Speaker number 11.
Hello, my name is Alexis and I've been teaching in Leander ISD for 5 years. Over the last few years, teachers have been under attack locally and at a state and national level for supporting kids in our classrooms. As a teacher, it is my job to make students feel safe and welcome to be themselves so that they can actually engage in learning. Luckily, the easiest way to do that is to respect them for who they are and trust that they know that better than I do. It is through this foundation of respect that I'm able to build relationships with my students, a best practice and key component to effective teaching. Recently, a teacher in our district has been the target of a smear campaign for providing representation for people of diverse backgrounds in her classroom. Being able to see yourself and your life represented publicly has a significant positive impact on students. This isn't indoctrination, it isn't grooming, it is simply representing the real world as it is. We are a public school district. As long as our doors are open, we will have diversity in our student body and in our teaching staff. It is our responsibility to provide a quality education to everyone who walks through our doors. If those folks don't feel safe, that won't happen.
Sadly, there are plenty of students and teachers who don't feel safe, and we have heard from them many, many times over the last few years in these meetings. So on this eve of the last day of school, I ask you, what are we doing to protect our most vulnerable and marginalized community members? Every day that we fail to protect these folks sends the message that they don't matter and that we don't care, and that is simply not true. So what are we as a district going to do about it? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, speaker. Speaker number 12.
Hello, board. I was asked to read a letter from a former Cedar Park softball player after a tweet was sent out about concerns about the program. This is what she said. To whom it may concern, I hope this email serves you well. I'm reaching out to address some concerns about the Cedar Park High School softball program. First of all, we're asking for the bare minimum. In most cases at school, when you start a new class or a sport at the beginning of the year, you're introduced to mechanics and skills needed to be successful. Now, as a 3-year high school softball player and 15-year experienced softball player, the preseason introduction to softball isn't necessarily needed for me, myself, but a lot of girls are eager to learn. With that being said, I've noticed throughout the years, intro to softball has slowly dwindled until we reach 2020-2021 season with no teaching of softball taking place during the preseason into the season. This is very disappointing as you have had girls who are inexperienced and are just thrown into a position and expected to know what to do. This is not how a program works. Whether the inexperienced girls are going to be on junior varsity or varsity, there's no reason that the girls in the Cedar Park High School softball program don't know how to throw and catch a ball deep into the season, the simplest part of softball and skills, and have to be executed in order to be in the sport. Furthermore, in my experience, there have been numerous times when I, as well as other players, have been running from first base to second base after hitting and looking up to the coach halfway to second base for further instruction and advancing to third or holding in second. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, speaker number 12. Speaker number 13.
Good evening, trustees, superintendent. I'd like to say a few words tonight about a 4th grade teacher at Reagan Elementary. I just recently saw a video of her bragging about how she grooms little children into sexual activity, into homosexual activity. She brags about how she puts badges on to incite conversations about sexual activity. She brags about how she puts words on her lanyard to incite children to ask questions about sexual things of a sexual nature. She brags about having books in her classroom regarding sex. This is a 4th grade teacher trying to sexualize little children in Reagan Elementary School. This is intolerable. And if you folks won't do something about it, parents need to do something about it and pull their children out of that classroom. Because if you don't want your children indoctrinated into homosexuality, there is a teacher, a 4th grade teacher at Reagan Elementary School that brags about doing this to little children. This should not be allowed. No adult should be talking to other people's children about anything of a sexual nature. It is completely inappropriate and should not be tolerated.
Thank you, speaker number 13. Speaker number 14.
Some really horrible behavior in the back of the room. I think you should know about that as the board chair. I come before you today as a devout Christian from a Christian family, and it really bothers me to know that people who call themselves Christians are deciding to attack teachers and over a period of years engaging in horrible lie after horrible lie after horrible lie. Our family is not demonic devil worshippers. Our kids are not victims of demonic possession, nor are other kids. The lies are just amazing, how many there are. The second great commandment in the Bible for Christians is love your neighbors. And those people back there are turning on their video, telling these awful things and then trying to create more controversy, more attacks on the schools. And the reason they're attacking the schools is because they hate their neighbors. They hate their neighbors. The second great commandment is like unto the first, to love God. It's on an equal footing. And we have a lot of people who are not doing that. Other people from other religions also have that same principle of loving your neighbors. If a teacher is expressing respect for a kid who is different, that's just saying that kids needs to be respected. It's not grooming, it's not anything like it, and we should be able to be truthful and discuss things and ensure we teach kids well and not do this type of thing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, speaker number 14. Speaker number 15. Speaker number 15. Not here. Okay. Speaker number 16.
Dr. Gearing and board members, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak this evening. I wanted to support all of our inclusive teachers in LISD. Recently, there have been social media posts, discussions on local radio stations, and videos distributed attacking one of our most amazing LISD educators. I've worked with this particular educator for the last 8 years. I am a special education teacher who provides in-class supports in all grade levels. I've worked daily with this teacher and see what happens in her classroom firsthand. Please do not believe the headlines or outlandish accusations of a small group of loud, angry, disgruntled community members. Trying to get a teacher fired for wearing inclusive pins on your lanyard is ridiculous. There is not any type of indoctrination happening in her classroom. How would these community members feel if your employer was contacted to discuss how you're indoctrinating people by wearing the cross around your neck, or maybe your Let's Go Brandon t-shirt? This is a public school. This small group of parents are attacking teachers and our public schools because they want school choice and vouchers. They're the same community members fighting for book bans and to hang up the 10 Commandments in school, false CRT accusations, and hatred for social emotional learning. This is a public school district. We have to be inclusive. We have to advocate for all races, ethnicities, genders, sexual orientations, religions, and socioeconomic status. As teachers, we have to create a safe, inclusive environment for all of our students to learn and thrive. That is what this outstanding teacher has done in the district for the last 18 years. Instead of separating our community with this hateful nonsense, let's lift.
All right. Thank you very much. Speaker number 16. Administration, I'm not able to be in the back of the room because I'm running up, I'm up here at the front of the meeting. So if there is an issue, I just need y'all to pay attention towards the back. All right. Our next speaker, speaker number 17.
Hi, I'm Celeste. As a parent and active community member, I've witnessed firsthand the outstanding commitment of LISD to providing a nurturing and inclusive learning environment for our students. Today, I want to shed light on a situation that has unfortunately attempted to tarnish the reputation of our district and cause undue stress to an amazing teacher who's been unjustly persecuted for fostering a dialogue on pronouns on our fourth grade graders. In our society, it's the responsibility of educators to equip our students with the tools they need to navigate the complex world they will inherit. By facilitating conversations around pronouns, our children are given the opportunity to develop empathy, respect, and understanding for their peers, irrespective of their gender identity. It's disheartening to witness the backlash faced by this educator who only sought to empower young minds with knowledge and compassion. Instead of celebrating her efforts to create an inclusive classroom, they've been subjected to online persecution and judgment. As we near Pride Month, I implore the school board to make a momentous stance today, a stance that reaffirms our commitment to equality and upholds the principles upon which LISD was founded. Let's embrace the opportunity to foster an environment that cherishes diversity and celebrates the uniqueness of every student. By supporting our educators and encouraging these crucial conversations, we can equip our children with the tools they need to thrive in an increasingly interconnected world. Let's remember that education is not just about imparting knowledge, it's about nurturing compassionate citizens who will lead our society forward. Thank you, happy Pride Month, and also I wore a shirt today too, trans people will always exist. Thanks.
All right, thank you, speaker number 17. Speaker number 18. Speaker number 18.
Good evening, neighbors on the board. How are you? I wanted to ask you, remember the story of Clyde Barrow? You know what Clyde Barrow said when he was famously asked, why do you rob banks? And what did he say? He said, well, that's where the money is. I think we have another Clyde Barrow in this district. I think they've already been referred to a couple times at Reagan Elementary. I don't know what to tell you other than if you ask them, why do you rob kids' innocence? And that's really what it is. What would they tell you? I'd be curious to know. Maybe it is kindness, but it's misguided kindness. I suggest that there's no place for any of these adult, sexual, political agendas in elementary school. I would go so far as to call them mental illness, fetish, whatever. But they don't belong in elementary school. If you want that kind of job, go to a university, become a faculty member in the gender studies group, and you can do it there. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Fight your fight there, not in elementary school. So I respectfully have to ask for the resignation of that person at Reagan Elementary. And you know, personnel is policy, as Bruce knows well. So if it isn't your policy, LISD, you need to fix this. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, speaker number 18. Speaker number 19. Speaker number 19.
I don't hide the fact that, like, I'm a safe space for people. I have my lanyard with my pronouns on it because even though you think elementary school, there are some kids that just, they know they're not everyone like everyone else, right? Something's different. I don't feel like I'm a girl or I don't identify as a girl, so I want to be their safe space. And then when the students had questions, she answered yes. What I said, because they were like, why do you have that on your lanyard? And I said, well, that's because I identify as a she, her. And they're like, oh. And I said, and she continues, because some people identify as they, them, and some identify as he, him. And so when I said I identify as she, her, they're like, oh, I'm a she, her. And she's like, okay. If what I just read disturbs you and you have a student at Reagan Elementary, you may want to speak to your student. Who knows how many children this teacher's been exposed to? From the sounds of it, this teacher broke numerous Texas education codes. I also would like to mention that all trustees, except Trustee Gautier, are friends with this teacher. Can any of you actually be impartial while investigating her? For years, us parents and community members have come begging you to protect our kids from these sexually explicit books that were snuck in during COVID with a zero vetting process. We were called book burners and book banners. You mocked us and said we were ridiculous to think that a teacher would actually cross the line and speak to students about their own personal values. But here we are. She needs to be fired, and so do all the other ones that think this is okay.
All right. Thank you, speaker. All right. Thank you, speaker number 19. Speaker number 20.
Happy end of the school year. You've done a great job. The teacher that keeps getting attacked is a wonderful person, a wonderful mother, and an incredible teacher. And when you talk to the people that have the students that have actually been through her classrooms, they love her. They can't say enough good things about her. This video that people keep talking about is totally taken out of context. She hasn't tried to sexualize anyone. She isn't trying to groom anyone. That's not what's going on. And whatever Texas or Leander does about books, everyone, you can get free access through the Brooklyn Library system. You can get a free library card. Even if something's banned, you can access it. Little story, I'm gay, believe it or not. I have a partner. We've been together for 14 years. Fred has stage 4 cancer. This week, his mother, who's 94 and has breathing difficulties, is staying with us. Gay people are just like everybody else. I help with Fred's mom, and then I help him get his treatments as well. We're a loving family. And people, we can all grow up and it gets better. Thank you, and happy end of the school year.
All right. Thank you, speaker number 20. And for our speakers who are here this evening, if you didn't finish your remarks and want to send them to the board, you can, of course, email us your comments. All right, that concludes this agenda item.